Hey, what is up guys? It is Needle. Welcome back to my channel for a new video. Today's video is going to be a pretty special one just because we're coming up on the 1 year mark since I uploaded my 1 week transformation on keyboard and mouse. So I figured the time is only right since it has been a proper year at this point to make my 1 year transformation on keyboard and mouse. Now is also a really great time to let everyone watching this video know that I do plan on making more videos in the future on how to switch to keyboard and mouse, or just general tip videos on things you guys can do, edit courses, stuff like that. That's going to make the transition from controller to keyboard a lot easier. So if you guys want to see more videos like that, or just want to see some content about how you can get better on Fortnite, make sure to subscribe and turn on post notifications. So like I had mentioned, I had originally posted a video covering my 1 week transformation, and then I didn't make any videos on keyboard and mouse after that until my 3-month transformation. So there was a lot of time in between there that I didn't cover or didn't make any videos on keyboard and mouse. So I'll make sure to fill you guys all in on what happened. But now to start with my 1 week transformation and why I even decided to make it. At this point, I just recently switched over to PC. I'd finally upgrade a little bit. I could run 144 frames, finally got 144 hertz, and I actually got a decent keyboard and mouse setup. At this point, I was just using some like basic Amazon mechanical keyboard, and I had a Logitech G502, if you guys know what it is. It's a pretty solid mouse to start with, but I finally had my own setup, had my own mouse pad, so I figured I just wanted to learn keyboard and mouse. I had only played controller in the past. Even since I got a PC, I only got it for Fortnite to play controller and to make videos, so it was a whole new experience, and I knew I was going to be awful at first. My first week after trying to learn keyboard, the initial thing that I noticed that I was immediately better at was only editing. Editing, for whatever reason, on keyboard, I think anyone that's even tried it, maybe even with just keyboard and mouse on console, they'll tell you just how easy it is to edit. You're not going to miss any edits coming from controller, but everything else was really bad. Specifically for me, for whatever reason, I would try to 1v1 my friends. Even if they were new to keyboard or they weren't that great, they would still out aim me every time. My aim was the most awful thing. Part of my game, I learned to build relatively quick. I think you can see it in my 1 week transformation video. I could already do the basic 90s. I could do some retakes. I was already learning how to put cones down. So I think I learned how to build pretty fast just because I knew how to build on controller already. But aiming on keyboard and mouse, even though it seems like something pretty easy, when I actually had to do it in game, I was pretty bad. So after I had finally uploaded the 1 week transformation video, this was right around the time of the World Cup happening last like April. So it was right when World Cup qualifiers started. And at this point, I was obviously way better on controller, so I figured it only made sense to start playing the World Cup qualifiers on controller because there was a good amount of money that Epic was dishing out for this one tournament for the World Cup. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna put keyboard to the side for a bit, and I ended up playing the first 8 weeks of World Cup qualifiers on controller. I didn't do the worst, but I didn't do that great. So on the 9th week, I decided for whatever reason, I'm done with controller and I'm switching to keyboard, and I'm committed to learning everything. So I played the week 9 and week 10 of the World Cup qualifiers on keyboard, and I don't even know if I got more than 20 points in either of the tournaments. It was not good. I should have just ended up playing on controller and then focus on keyboard and mouse after, but that's exactly what I did. After World Cup was completely over, I was just focused on keyboard and mouse from there. So that's when I fully started committing and grinding every single day to learning keyboard and mouse. So at this point, I was really focused on my mechanics. After the first month, I'd gotten decent. As you guys could see in the 1 week video, I really wasn't that bad for builds, but after that, I put all my attention on my aim and just working in creative. So a typical day during the first 1 to 2 months for me, I would probably spend honestly 2 hours in creative, whether it's doing an edit course or 1v1ing people. I was just trying to get quicker and trying to get faster with my mechanics because I still had a long way to go. I really wasn't that good yet, and I knew I already had the game sense just from playing on controller. I already gotten a lot of kills and got pretty good at controller, so I knew if I eventually could let my mechanics catch up to my brain, that I could get pretty good on keyboard. This is something I wanted to bring up specifically for this video because I've seen it a lot at this point. Whenever you have someone that plays on controller and they start learning keyboard, they become pretty good at keyboard really quick. The reason I think this is like I mentioned, when you play controller, at first building, it feels really uncomfortable, but after you get it, you kind of understand how building and editing works. And on keyboard, it's something you have way more control over. So once you get it down on keyboard, it tends to be a lot easier, and you already know what edits work, what plays work, what peaks work, stuff like that. So once you finally let your mechanics kind of catch up to where your brain's at on keyboard, that's when you really start getting a lot of kills. And this happened for me, I would say around the 2-month mark. At this point, like I said, I was playing a lot of creative, and this is when I started hopping into solo arena because keep in mind, I was still in champs on my main account from playing controller. So I was just thinking, hey, it doesn't matter, I'm already in champs, you can't go down. I might as well play my solo arena games on keyboard and mouse to get better practice and fight better people. Now, the game that really marked it for me, and I noticed I was starting to get a lot better, for whatever reason, I always had play on around 0.075 as my sensitivity with 800 DPI. For anyone that plays keyboard, you'll know what that is, which is right around like lower to medium sense. But for whatever reason, right before I went into an arena game, I was said, screw it, I'm gonna put my sense down to 0.065, which is like really low sense at that point. That's a sense that you only want if you only want to focus on hitting your shots. And for whatever reason, I went into that solo arena game and I got glued off the start and I just started W keying. I'm not kidding. I was probably like maybe a month and a half, 2 months into keyboard, and I dropped like a 17 or 18 kill game in solo arena in champs like last summer, which I think was pretty hard at the time. I actually have a full video of it. I wasn't recording, so I have like the third party like replay mode of it, but it's still a really cool gameplay to watch me get some of these kills. But this was definitely like when I noticed I was getting a lot better, and this was right around like the 2-month mark. Now this is right around when I uploaded my 3-month transformation video, so I'll start covering what was going on from there. At this point, around the 3 months, I was playing Kovacs every day, which for anyone that's watched this video and doesn't know what it is, basically just like a third-party aim trainer on Steam that you can buy. Basically, it's the best way to train your like mouse control. Overall, I mean, you're gonna get better aim if you play a lot of Kovacs. So I was playing Kovacs probably at least an hour a day at this point, really trying to get my aim better. I really focused on tracking over anything. I didn't do a lot of tile frenzy, so I was always doing like close range tracking stuff with my SMG and my shotgun, and that was my main focus because at this point my AR shot was already pretty good. So this is right around the 3-month transformation, and you guys can see my mechanics were really good at this point. This is when mechs were in the game, and I think it was trios, so I was just having some fun in some trio arena. But at this point I'd gotten really good. I think I dropped like 12 kills in this arena game. I was probably at the peak of my mechanics because I'm gonna be honest, at the 3-month mark I played creative way more than I played creative now. I was always 1v1ing people and working on my edits, doing edit courses before I would go to pubs, stuff like that. This is when I was like really committed to the grind and trying to learn my mechanics. So at this point, I'm gonna be honest, I don't think my mechanics were better. I think they've obviously gotten tighter and better over the 1 year that I've been playing, but this is when I was definitely focusing on them the most, and I think it shows in this gameplay because I really hadn't been playing for that long. Something that is worth mentioning, and I think I should probably speak on more, is the fact that I didn't really upload any videos about me on keyboard. Keyboard for me has always been like something on the side and for fun. I don't necessarily dislike making videos on keyboard and mouse, but I've always just made videos about controller because that's what I've kind of built my channel around. So that's why I also mentioned in the beginning that I do want to start expanding and making tips for people on keyboard and mouse. So like I mentioned, make sure to subscribe and turn on post notifications if you want to see more videos on keyboard and mouse. But I just want to mention that during this like 3-month to 12-month period, I still was playing a lot of keyboard and mouse, but it wasn't always my main focus. If I had a video for the day that I had to make on controller, or I was playing a tournament, I was probably playing it on controller at the time. So keyboard and mouse for me has always been something on the side that if I feel like playing it for the day or I feel like playing it for a tournament, I'm gonna pick it up and play it. So keep in mind, there are some days where I'm probably not playing keyboard at all during this 1 year, but then there's also some days where I'm playing 2 hours on Kovacs and build fighting for 4 hours because that's just how I am. So I did put a lot of time into keyboard, but it wasn't like some like linear progression where I played it every single day. Like I mentioned, I really started grinding on keyboard every day after World Cup was over. The World Cup qualifiers was over. So after this, there was probably like a 2 to 3 month break in any competitive announcements at all. Fortnite was not putting out anything for competitive just because World Cup was actually going on still, like the actual World Cup tournament. So I just used this time as like downtime, trying to get better and just trying to get more fights in, and overall just trying to get faster on keyboard. And I think it actually helped for the next competitive season because it was like a 2 to 3 month period in between World Cup and trios. So the first competitive event after this wasn't until like August, so I had the whole summer to grind and get better. And keep in mind, as far as what I was doing in creative at this point, box fights were not really a thing yet. Box fights were kind of popping in like October on Discord, I feel like, and this is more like July, August, September, right around there. So I was playing a lot of zone wars at this point. People just started getting into zone wars. So my main focus at this point is I'd probably get on to do my aim training for like 30 minutes to an hour, play some zone wars for an hour or two, and then probably just play some duo arena with some friends to try to get more fights, to just get more practice. Now this puts us right around, like I mentioned, right around September after trios was over, and at this point I was like mainly only focused on competitive. I stopped playing creative as much. I still did my aim training, did all that stuff. My mechanics were really good at this point. Keep in mind, like I'd been playing consistently for about 6-7 months, so I was pretty good. At this point, all I wanted to focus on though was not getting faster, but getting better at competitive. So I was playing a lot of scrims, a lot of solo scrims, stuff like that, really just trying to focus on getting smarter and understanding how these competitive late games worked. And I think it actually showed because this is also right around when chapter 2 started, which was, you know, the whole black hole event and stuff like that. But after that, they started putting out a lot of cash cups, and these were my favorite things to play for competitive. These were like kind of almost like a mix of casual tournaments with competitive, They didn't have the best end games, but it was cool for me because it was just more practice on keyboard. So I ended up actually getting some of my better placements at the time on keyboard and mouse. So I was doing all the solo cash cups. I think my best one was probably right around like 250th in the solo tournament, which was pretty cool for me. It was my best placement yet, so I was really happy about it at the time. And that's kind of like the last 6 months for keyboard on me. It's really a matter of if I want to play keyboard for the day on scrims or not, because like I mentioned, I still play on controller and have some of my best tournaments on controller. For me, I would say the best way to explain it, considering I have like 2 years or 3 years of Fortnite on controller and 1 year on keyboard, I am much quicker and much better mechanically on keyboard. I think all my friends would tell you that. I could just do way more on keyboard, but I'm overall a way smarter and more confident player on controller. And I think that's just because I've been playing on controller longer. I understand all the controller mechanics. I learned how to build and edit pretty easily, and having good aim with controller on PC is not very hard. So I would still say I'm a more competent player on controller. I mean, keep in mind, it's not like I fully switched to keyboard. It was just something for the side for me, but I did grind it a lot. I have like 10 days played on Kovac, so it's not like I didn't put any time into it. So it's something to keep in mind that I still do prefer to play on controller. If there's a big tournament coming up, I probably will start practicing on controller again, but I still have placed really good on keyboard. I'll pop up my placements right now to break down the two. So my best placement on controller is a solo placement where I got like 107 in one of the solo cash cups, and then on keyboard, one of my best placements is actually recently from one of the new daily duo cash cups that they put in, where I got 52nd on keyboard and mouse. But you know, the daily duo cash cups really are not that competitive, so I don't know if that really counts, but we did get 52nd, so it is a pretty cool placement. That is going to wrap up everything for today's video on the 1 year transformation on keyboard and mouse. If you guys did enjoy this video at any point, make sure to leave a like on the video obviously, and subscribe and turn on post notifications if you would like to see more videos. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this as much as I did to recap the past year on keyboard, because it's been really fun. And like I mentioned, more keyboard videos are coming soon in the future, so if you are someone that maybe does play keyboard and just switch and you're looking to get some tips, make sure to subscribe. More videos will be out soon. That's been all for me, guys. I will see you guys in the next one. Peace.